yourself.
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Early morning stream.
It's because I said hello.
That's why even the dogs are happy. Even the dogs are happy that we're here today for a lovely stream. I am joined by the Notion Goth, and we're doing some live Notion coaching today because why not? Because we ended up sat on a call last night after the Notion Nerds, and you were like, I don't know what to do with this. And I'm like, shall we go live today? Yes, we'll go live today. Cool. And so that is the beginning of our day.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
It is morning. We are all shiny. And
oh yeah,
absolutely. What else?
Oh yeah, look.
Monday morning.
Exactly. Except talk about Notion.
Standard.
Hello. It's like yeah. This is going to be interesting. Dashboards is on one of the pain points in Notion. Yeah. Literally is. I think it's a stream of full work. Literally, we're going to go live. We're going to talk, and then she's going to go off to work.
And then I'm going to go to work.
Yay!
So, no, it's one of those dashboards are one of those things that sometimes you end up with like 2, 3, 4 that are all variations on a theme, and they all do very similar things, but a tiny bit differently. And that's what I've got a problem with at the moment, is I have 2 dashboards which are sort of identical, but sort of not. So when I was on a call with John last night, I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. And he's like, I'm not talking to you about it now. And I'm like, okay. And we decided to go live about it.
Yeah, and you don't know how difficult it has been to just been like, she's like, oh yeah, but I just don't know about this. I'm like, I know answers, but stream it. Come on, stop myself from giving all the answers now. Hello, Natasha. It's great to see you.
Hey.
And Kim as well. Thank you for joining us. It's good. So, without further ado, let's start talking about your dashboards. Right. I like your dashboards.
Let's go to this one and let's go to this one.
So let us know that you can see it okay, because there's so much lovely, wonderful stuff in there. We may end up zooming in at some points just so that we can see little snippets of it. Yeah, so walk us through what we're seeing now.
Okie dokie. So this one, I hope everyone can see my mouse. I've made my mouse bigger so that hopefully we'll be able to see everything. The one on the left, this one, is the Notion Goth mission control. So this was the one that I started with. So there's nothing on here now that was on there in the first place. Because obviously my content calendar changed, my next actions and all things like that, everything changed. But that was the one that I started with. And then on the right hand side, we have my content schedule and focus, which looks pretty similar. There's a couple of bits that one has that the other one doesn't have.
Could I zoom in on each of them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I was asked, that'd be good. Just so we can get a slightly easier idea.
Okay, if I do that.
We can start with one on each and then do the same with the other. That works beautifully.
Right, is that better?
Okay. Let us know that it's better. Let us know that it's easier to see.
Yeah.
That it's quite hard to see all that stuff. If we're gonna zoom in and we're gonna go like section by section anyway in a second.
There we go.
Just to get an overview of it.
So
Beautiful.
that's the mission control. So this is this is it bigger. Does that work for everybody?
Can we see that? Okay. I know it's quite hard to see the big one. Yeah. Cool. Should be all good. Well, once we know, we'll keep talking and see what happens.
Wonderful.
If people say we need to zoom in, we can zoom in. We'll zoom into the sections once we get into the details of it in a second. But
yeah.
So this is your mission control, and then
I don't know if it's mission control anymore, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
So
okay, so let's start with what I always start with. It is like, what is the purpose currently of this dashboard? What was it originally?
To keep an eye on all the moving parts.
Okay. So if you want to, I'm gonna ruin your beautifully designed thing. If you could just add a bit above, and then just put purpose and then what it is, just so that we can see that whenever we're looking, and you can see it right now. Whenever I start designing new dashboards, I'm always trying to be really clear on why I have a dashboard and what it's for and exactly what I need it to be and what I don't need it to be. And this helps me to take it from inside my head, because often we all store it all inside our head. And when it's in our head, it's really hyper confusing. Like we're always overthinking it because everybody has so many things going on in their head at one time. So just looking at this and going, oh, well, that's why I've got this. Well, then each time you look at it, you've got to bring that purpose back into the forefront of your head. And that could be part of why you're confused right now, because you're just trying to pull the purpose every so often and end up getting really confused at what's what. And so the purpose of this dashboard is to keep an eye on all the moving parts. Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, so what kind of brought you to try and solve this problem? What were you struggling with when you first created this?
So I've been through a number of different iterations of my content calendar. I have tried August Bradley's content machine. I have tried other people when they've shared their content calendar. I've tried putting it inside other databases so that I've got like a unified task list and things like that. Doesn't work for me personally. So I went.
Sorry, just for everybody else, why doesn't it work for you? I'd love to kind of dive into that a little bit too, so that people who are currently using like a unified task manager, because this is something that I experienced. I cannot combine my tasks and my content calendar together because it just becomes overwhelming. I like having a separation. Also, it's really useful for me when I'm working in a team to have it separate. So walk us through what made you decide that you couldn't have it all in one.
Okay, so this is my focus. So this is got half is personal and half is the Notion Goth. I found if I had everything in together, things got lost and things didn't get done. And I wasn't, even though this page is called Focus, I wasn't sure what needed my attention and what needed my focus because it was all in one list. I tried to have two lists from the same database, but filtered. So one side would show personal and one side would show content. But that, I don't know, I ended up having like a bajillion different properties in my personal one, which were only for my content calendar.
Yeah.
And when I share, because Luke and I have got a unified calendar for like everything that happens that isn't the Notion Goth, it got really difficult as well to be able to share it with him, for him to understand what he was doing and what I was doing and what was Notion Goth and what wasn't.
Especially when we didn't have hiding properties.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if I've got hide this for stream, but if I untoggle this and wait for it to load because, you know, we're live, but it's not going to do anything quickly. So get more pillows out of the coffee table. This has been on my to-do list for I don't know how long. But I have 49 hidden properties. Now, a lot of these, if I unfurl and if I make that bigger so that everyone can see. So this is just a personal task. I need to get more pillows out of the coffee table because we need more pillows upstairs, and we've got a coffee table that's got like holes under it where I put all of the spare stuff. So the due date was last Saturday. This has been moved since November and I still haven't done it. Yeah, so it's assigned to me. That's my area. That's my CRM. And then obviously we've got anything and everything. If it's got a parent, so like if it's an appointment, if there was one before it. And then anything that's down here is a leftover from when I have my content calendar in there. So a lot of it can go. Yeah, a lot of it can go. But these are all my templates. There's quite a few.
Beautiful. It's template heaven. I love it.
Yeah, there's quite a few, and some of them are Notion Goth, and they just don't need to be there anymore. So I found that having everything in together, I either lost personal tasks, or I lost content tasks. And that for me wasn't an effective use, because I need to be able to distinguish the content that I'm doing around personal stuff. So that's why we split it.
Beautiful. Excellent. Okay. So that is wonderful. So having things that are like unoverwhelming seems to be really important, because you're so for people who don't know, you actually manage everything inside of Notion. It's not just your business inside of here. You have your personal, your life, everything. Your whole entire world is in this wonderful tool called Notion. And love
when Notion went down because of the doomsday, John, I was lost.
Oh, that must have been a horrible day.
It was
a fuck everything, I'm going back to bed kind of day?
That was right. So we now need to have a look and see if I can use ClickUp to have a redundancy. To look at ClickUp and go, do you know what? I'm good.
Forced break. Yeah, I think that happened to most Notion users that day. It was just like, okay, January 3rd, everyone goes back to work. Amazon disagrees. No one goes back to work today.
Notion went down, and I'm just like, yeah, 2020 was supposed to have been like, obviously 2020 was fucking horrific. But 2020 is supposed to be over now, but I don't think Amazon got the memo.
No, I don't think they did. I don't think they did. And honestly, it wasn't quite as scary as the G word going down. That terrified me.
We won't discuss that. That is the event that we will not discuss.
The Google Pop.
Yes.
I met for me, I actually met the photographer who did my new photos on the day of Google Apocalypse. We were going into a Zoom room, which she sent to me in my Gmail. And it was like 2 minutes before the meeting. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll go grab the link from my Gmail. I don't need to save it or anything because I know where it is. I was in ClickUp at the time. And so my work was still going. It was fine. ClickUp wasn't down. So I was and marginally laughing at all Notion users, just slightly. Sorry, guys. And And I opened up. I was trying to open my email. I was just like, "What is going on with my email? I can't access anything." Luckily, we had just been friended on Facebook, so I was just like, "I can't get in the meeting. Can you send me the link again?" And she was like, "Yeah, I know." What started as a 15-minute meeting ended up turning into over an hour because we were talking about the Google Apocalypse for most of the time. So it's a wonderful introduction.
I don't remember the last time that happened. You know, and it was just like, oh, it's not working. Okay, so I'll reset the router. Maybe it's that, and all the rest of it. And then you like look at my Google Drive, and it's grey, and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe yeah, that's fine. Go to Gmail. Oh my god!
Natasha Buck just said, "Let's send a pigeon to Amazon."
Yeah, absolutely.
That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Absolutely.
That sounds like a fantastic idea. I love that. Anyway, squirreling as we do, because that is what this happens. Going back to what we're talking about here. So you separated everything so that you have a little bit more space, because it's important to have a good amount of space in your space.
Yeah, and I wanted it to be quite granular so that I've got the two sides, so that I know this is a work thing and this is a personal thing.
Yeah, and I really like that about your space, is that you have a beautiful like separation between the two, but at a second's notice you can bring it all together. I think that's something that really attracted me to your space in general, is the fact that you've got personal and business together. The reason why I never put personal inside of my space originally was because of that. I didn't want to, one, overwhelm myself, and two, have everything mixed in together. Which is I really like how you've managed to have a really good balance of everything together.
The only issue that I have with it is that my work calendar is in my personal space. So what I've done is I have created a multi-select with day job. So what I can do is when I'm in either my TNGMC or my content focus, I've done a thingy calendar. You know, the one, link database, that's the badger, which only shows in a calendar view when I'm working, because I don't have a Monday to Friday 9 to 5. So it's absolutely pointless with me trying to work out, okay, so Monday is content day. Tuesday, I'm going to make videos when I eventually get there. Wednesday is research. Thursday is something else, because that's not how my day job works.
Yeah.
So I can't have like theme days. Like Marie Poulin has theme days. They look absolutely amazing. And she does like certain things on certain days. Jessica Stansbury as well has theme days, so she'll only take meetings on like a Tuesday and a Thursday, which is brilliant if this is what you do. But because I have a day job that isn't Monday to Friday 9 to 5, and it isn't the same 1 week to the next, it's on a 6-week rolling rota, I can't do something like that. So I have to plan my content around when I'm at work. Yeah. Which means I have to have a linked database somewhere to just show when I'm at work. If I go back, I don't even know if it's in this one. Is it in this one? Is it in this one? And you're just going to spend 3 hours refreshing. There you go. So the calendars, obviously our calendar is called calendar and the content calendar is called content calendar. They have the same icon but different colors, just to give it that bit of a distinction. And so in the calendar that you can see here, which is bottom right, it is filtered to just show employment and done is not. So
do you want to zoom in a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you.
So this is my work calendar, and it's filtered for type is employment/day job, and done is not checked. So that allows me to see when I'm working, and I can put content in around that, because there's absolutely no point in putting, ordinarily I work 8 till 2. So at the moment we're working slightly differently, but normally I work 8 till 2. So there's no point in me putting like a massive pillar post up, which is like 9 hours on a day that I'm working, because it's not going to get done. I don't have that kind of time. So that's why originally I wanted everything in the same calendar, so that I could literally drag and drop and move things around and I know when I was working. But in reality, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So this is what my content calendar is, right above that calendar. So if I'm working, so like at the moment I'm working on why I moved to Notion. That's my next blog post, and I've already started it, so I can do it on days when I'm at work, because now I have the morning, because I don't start work until 2, and then I have after 8 o'clock after I've had some tea and stuff. So, but I can do that in like small bits. It doesn't need to be like an entire day to do it. And then I've decided as well, because I want to do a newsletter, not necessarily with ConvertKit or enter another newsletter provider, but because I want to do a newsletter, say, on my website, I've put newsletter days in. These correspond to my last day off.
I like that.
So you can see from here, my newsletter day is the 5th, and I'm at work on the 6th. So rather than spending an entire week writing my newsletter, bless you, I can work on my newsletter here from everything that happened between the 1st and the 5th.
Beautiful. I love that. That's a nice, I like that way of,
so
that's something that I'm working on, newsletters. Yeah.
It doesn't make
it's really good.
A big undertaking, but I wouldn't have been able to do that if I hadn't have known when I was working.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Homesick Mac. Hi all, missed the beginning, unfortunately, but Shiza, it looks dangerous as me.
I'm going to take that as a compliment, Homesick. Thank you, darling. If it was a compliment, please. Hi, Gail. Please let me know.
And also, I just want to appreciate the dodging around like the swear filter by using Shiza instead of shit. Beautiful. Yes, well done.
Absolutely. Have a good day.
Hi, Gail. Have a good day, Roxy. You will enjoy the replay later. We'll be here for a few, so we'll be here for a while. Yeah. Good. Glad you enjoyed it. Nice to see you. Hi, Gail. Nice to see you as well. We're all up nice and early this morning. It's good.
We are.
A Homesick Mac, definitely a compliment.
Thank you, darling.
Okay, so let's go back to these 2 dashboards that are causing you so much stress. So we've got the purpose of one. So if we just very quickly switch over to the other one, the one that you don't have a clear idea on. So tell me what the purpose of this one is at the moment.
Exactly the same.
Is it?
Well, this is the problem. It's got obviously exactly the same, all of my content in there. It's got my work calendar, which for some reason isn't working. Woo! Okay, that's a bit of an issue.
Sorry, I love that. She's like, whoa, look at all those filters.
Yeah.
Them be scary filters.
There should be like 2.
How many filters is there? I can't see it myself.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21.
Wow. I think that might be. I think that might be the most filtered. Homesick Mac, death by filters.
Yeah,
Kind of.
But that is a hangout. That is a leftover from when I had them both in together. Because all of those things now, content, next action, client comms, marketing, delivery, business development, operations, and up leveling do not live in there anymore. They live in the content calendar. So we'll pretend that didn't happen.
Yep.
We'll hide that one. But yeah, so that
we're in live build mode,
yeah,
ladies and gentlemen. If you're waiting for beautifully clean, pristine, and sexy Notion templates with no errors whatsoever, go and see Marie.
Yeah. Go and have a look at some of Marie.
Go onto Notion Twit and look at the beauty that is Notion TWT. This is not. Although to be fair, I still find this ever so slightly sexy too, but that's a whole different story, and I just like detail. So anyway, it is a scary filter, but we're on live. As they say in the game development world, we're on live code, people.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's. Okay. So we want to.
So we'll just give you a few seconds to like completely change that.
Let's change that.
So you say that this. I've just hidden it. We're going to pretend this isn't happening, and I'm just going to have a conversation with you so that it feels like everything's all wonderful.
If I make that bigger, then everyone can see what I'm doing. So you can leave it on if you want, John.
I know, I was being saying. It's a clogged filter. Call it.
Yeah.
It's a clogged filter. Call a plumber.
Yeah, completely.
Love it, Gail. Thank you.
Let's move that to there, and then we're going to make this an and we are going to change this. And we're going to put that one there. And we're going to change that to that one. We are now going.
And then everything else can die.
Yeah, we are then going to remove. And this is annoying as well. Why can't
I know. The fact it has to be one at a time. I know. It would be so nice to have like bulk deletes. Homesick Mac, since my only content is going to be YouTube videos, I'm trying to relate to that watching your setup.
My content is not YouTube videos.
No, yours is blog posts.
Mine is blog posts. Right, so
beautiful
is employment. There we go.
Okay, so basically, in the edit, we're going to cut out the whole bit before. I'm just going to go, and this is the work calendar.
So that's what my work calendar should look like.
Mm-hmm. And what it did, you mean what it does? Look
yeah,
like?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. This is perfect.
Continuity.
Christine.
Come on. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, but then I've got things like my content office on Gumroad and my undated content, and then up here I have content that I haven't scheduled that is like an emergency backup. So if I'm like I can't think of anything to do, I have put a load of like YouTube videos and Crowdcast videos in here that I can create content around if I want to, because these are the ones that like I love. So, and then so further down we've got filler and undated content. That's not right anymore because this is just operations. And then my content offers.
Okay. So those are the two changes. Is that correct from the other dashboard?
No.
How big is your monitor screen? 27 inches.
I have a 27-inch iMac, so I'm going to flex on that for a second. I have a 27-inch iMac, and I view Chrome at 80%. Because otherwise I can't get everything on the screen.
I love that.
So we were talking as well. My iMac is going through a bit of a midlife crisis at the moment. she's not feeling good, and I've got to a point now where I'm like, So August last year, we ended up spending like £800 to fix her, and I'm like, if she goes again, we just don't have 800 quid to fix her again. So we've been looking at Mac Minis, and I'm like, oh, if I got a Mac Mini, I could have like a huge curved monitor.
Like this one.
Yes. So I'm just like, if she goes again, do I replace her? Oh, Mac Mini with a curved monitor, 2 curved monitors. Oh, so yeah.
All the curved monitors.
All the curved monitors. And then like Luke's like, yeah, but you could get one of the other ones that you can turn into like portrait mode and that you could have like over there. And I'm like, we're supposed to be saving money by not repairing the right? You do realize this, yeah?
I love my 30. Like, before I saw your space, my space was 2 columns and that was it. And then I saw your space and went, oh, cool. I like that, having more columns. And of course, Rebecca actually has a Mac as well, so she looks at things in a big view. And I'm just like, oh, I could have some fun with that.
So,
and then I actually looked up the size of my monitor screen just to answer Gail's question. It's 32.
So yeah, this is the dashboard that John's talking about, where I've got multiple columns.
I love that. I love that so much.
Where I've got multiple columns going on.
It's just beautiful.
So
I have a question for you. Why do you use the browser rather than the app?
Because I have like 4 different tabs open at once.
Beautiful. I love
so that. So this is the one that I'm working on at the moment, which we'll get into later, which is my theme for February for my website. So this isn't the Chrome browser that I'm using. It's on another screen. So this is literally only showing what I can show or what I needed to show to be able to do this stream. But on my other browser, I have like my focus open all the time, my TNG MC open, my New Year's resolutions open. Then I have my published calendar, public service announcement. Everyone should have a published calendar. People, take note. So you should have a published Go Me calendar where you can put everything that you've published, because you can sometimes get caught up in things and not realize actually you are fucking awesome. And I am like waving my pom-poms behind you because you are like the best human being in the world. And people don't celebrate that. So I have a published calendar, Go Me.
So is that a separate calendar? Is that its own database, or is that
content calendar different date?
Yeah. Okay.
Everything is based. So I have like a write date and a published date.
And so once it goes to the published date, you have a filtered view, which says it's a published date. Beautiful, beautiful. Love it. Love it. Absolutely.
And then it's all exactly the same calendar, but I've got 3 different views. So I have a calendar at the top so that I can see sort of how often I've posted and how consistent I've been. Then I have the content calendar in table view where I can see all the URLs, the monthly theme that it was, where I promoted it, and where it is in my tag cloud. Tag cloud is a new thing that my website does that I didn't even know was a thing, but apparently on the template that I've got, there's a tag cloud, which I absolutely love. So now I've put everything under the tag cloud. And then I have a Kanban view of everything that I've posted, which directly mimics my website. So I've posted 3 articles on my website, which was the 28th of January, the 30th of January, and the 31st of January. So what I've done is the cover photos that I've used for my website, I've put in the Kanban view so that it just gives me that little bit of a visual representation of exactly what I've done. And obviously at the moment, I've only done 3. So there's only 3 at the moment in my Kanban view. However, as I go through the year and through the month, that Kanban view will fill out. And I might change this to like a publish. I might change the name of it to like publish 2021 and then start a new one for 2022 so that it doesn't get like too bloated.
Yeah.
And so that I can filter the Kanban view to only give me things that were published between the 1st of January and the 31st of December 2021 so that I get a whole year snapshot. So I might do that. But as I've only published 3 things and my website has gone live about 4 times on 4 different places, I'm not quite there yet. So yes.
So going back to the purpose of this secondary dashboard that you're still not sure about. So what is the purpose of it? If it's the same purpose, that's fine. We just go down another layer. There's nothing wrong with having 2 dashboards that have the same purpose if they have different things that you need on it and different things that it solves. It doesn't necessarily. It depends on where you are in your kind of mindset. Like, if you want a dashboard, have a darn dashboard. Like, you just need to know what you need and want. And so what would you say the purpose of this dashboard is? And then put it up at the top for me.
Probably, I'm going to just go back to this.
So I'd also like to challenge that a little bit because that's still ever so slightly wishy-washy.
I don't know.
So to keep an eye on all the moving parts, well, can you specify what are the moving parts?
See, this is where I'm having the issue because I know that a lot of people structure their content for like the whole year. Because of when I work, I can't do that. I can't even do it for like the quarter because obviously with, pandemic, everything is a bit up in the air. And at work, my shifts have changed. So where I would have been working 8 till 2, I'm now working 2 till 8. Sometimes I'm working from home. Sometimes I'm in the office. And the days don't follow my 3 on 3 off anymore. So they've changed things around. So I have an issue. My biggest issue is planning when I'm going to make specific content. That's okay. Big issue number 1. So I was watching a Office Hours with Marie from like ages ago, and she was interviewing Tara McMullen, and she came up with themes for the year. And I'm like, ooh, I like that. Yes, I can get behind that. So not on that one. Let me make that bigger. So what I've done is I made a content themes database. And as soon as I did that, everything came together because I had so many ideas of things that I wanted to write. But you get stuck in the, what do I write first? What has to come after something else? What would make sense to come before something? And then like 3 weeks later, write something else. What would I have to reference if I'm writing this one? So what I did was I came up with a content theme. So my themes obviously are split into months. And as soon as I did that, I could see all of the content that I had ideas about what I wanted to write naturally fell into one of these themes. So that to me, if anyone's having problems with working out how to content plan, see if themes work for you, because themes can be as woolly as you like.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I wanted to write something about New Year's resolutions, but there's pointless doing it in January because that's when you set New Year's resolutions. But by February, they've buggered off. So I knew I had to do my New Year's resolutions in February. Now, my birthday is in April. So I thought it would be good to do something around bucket lists and like taking stock and things like that, and how's the last year been, and everything else. So everything naturally fell into one of these themes. Now, the only place I don't have a theme for is October and November. I do not have a clue. But we've got a few months for me to work that out, and something will naturally come up.
It always does, doesn't it? It's like everyone thinks that they have to have all of the details and everything figured out, and sometimes it's not, you know, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it's just good to go with what feels good and just keep up with what works for you as far in advance as you want to go.
Yeah, and I mean, there are some things that naturally have to happen at certain points.
Yeah.
So for getting ready for the next academic year, that makes sense to have in July. And the reason that makes sense to have in July is because even though universities in the UK go back in September, schools and universities in America go back in August. So it makes sense to have that in July. And then obviously the 2020 prep and annual review makes sense to be in December. It wouldn't make sense to be anywhere else. But being able to see a theme for the month has, I wouldn't say it's allowed me to go like laser, but it's allowed me to go, okay, so I've got all of these content ideas in my head. Where do these things fit? And get like a bit of coherence going. So that was important, which is on the TNG-MC, and it's not on the other one. So this is why I'm leaning more to the MC, which is mission control, for those who've just joined us. It's
So can I ask why you have to have one?
Because I'd completely forget where I was supposed to be going.
Okay. So having one is important to you. Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, if I go into, so basically we're in February, so we're in my New Year's resolution theme, which has pretty much exactly the same information.
Mm-hmm.
My concern, I suppose, is the fact that this actually contains everything that I need to be able to plan February for my content. It has my work calendar in it. It has my meetings and events. It has Ben's wonderful global Notion calendar, which is fantastic. Everybody should go and get Ben's global Notion calendar. Just quick plug.
Absolutely.
So it's got that in there so that if there's like an event that comes up, then it will come up and I'll know, like, I need to either attend it, I need to watch it, or I might want to create content around it. So it just sits in there. And obviously we've got Monday Lunch Live, which is what we're doing now.
Bye.
So at the, if we go from the top, right? So we have things to think about. So New Year's resolutions have gone out the window by now. It's time to have a rethink about the way you're organizing goals and projects. Link to all the resources that I've watched and read about the different ways to organize goals. No, one size does not fit all when it comes to goal setting.
No.
I do not have goals because I don't like the word.
Well, you're in good company here because I don't like goals. Goals, KPIs, OKRs, JK LMNPs, as I love to say.
XYZs, yeah, not interested. So I've got just this section at the top where I can just sort of like a scratch pad, where I can just have these things at the top of what I would like to address this month. Then moving down, there is a wonderful content calendar. I can't remember her name, but there's
Hang on, I've got it.
You've got it?
That's the publicity calendar you shared with me, yes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait for the PDF to load, Notion. Hurry up. Thank you. It's amazing. It is really good. I'm looking for it. What's her name? Well, the website is impacting millions, if I remember rightly, from what I can see. Let's have a little look-see. I think it's impacting millions. It's amazing. Like, absolutely. I looked at this and was just like, this actually makes sense. So yeah, impacting millions is Selena Sue. There we go. I found her name. Selena Sue, impacting millions. Her publicity calendar. It's really interesting. I'm going to be diving into some more of that myself when I build up my content calendar, which is what I'm going to be doing.
So what I've done is I've embedded the pictures for February into February.
I love that.
And what she's done is she has done notable dates and important dates in February. To a certain extent, it's very America, very US centric, but there are a few things that are universal. So things like Valentine's Day may not happen in every country, but a lot of places will have the commercialization of Love Day.
Beautiful.
And then she's got like story idea prompts. This is free. I subscribed to her newsletter and she sent the link out. So if you subscribe to the newsletter, you'll get the link. It's absolutely brilliant. And
it is amazing.
And she's done it for every month. So I've put that at the top under a toggle. So if I'm like, oh, I wonder if there's anything that I've missed or that I haven't done, or if I'm looking for inspiration, I will go up here and unfurl the toggle so that I can see other things that are going on. And then if I hide that one, so on the right hand side, if I make that bigger, that's better. So on the right hand side, I have all of my content arranged by the right date. So the date that I want to do it. I also have a current word count, so that I can see like if I've gone off on one, basically. And how to set goals, don't rely on other people. That is nowhere near finished, and it's already at 4,000 words. That's gonna be a bit. I have gone off on a massive rant about that, but it's my
I love
blog
it.
I like.
And actually, there's a lot of value in lots of words. Like when you're going into details and just describing exactly what you want. I love it. I really love it. It's all good.
So that's on the right hand side. On the left is again my calendar, so that I can see when things are happening in February. And then these are all the things that happened in January, because there are a couple of things that I haven't done yet. So I wanted to have a January one underneath my February one. Now, ordinarily this won't happen, but because setting up my website was such a fustercluck, and
yes, it was.
It was completely. And as my recent blog post, homage to my mentor, said, without John and without Ben, there's no way my website would look like it does. It just wouldn't. And there are a couple of niggly bits that still aren't right, but the majority of it is there now. So because it was so time consuming. There are a few bits of content that I haven't written that I had down to write in January that haven't been done. So the reason that I've got a January one underneath is so that I can see if I've missed anything. Ordinarily, in March, there shouldn't be anything from February that I haven't done yet. Yay! Thanks, John. If my website is a little bit purple. I'm a little bit in love with my website. It's a little bit purple.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's so nice. I love how purple.
Absolutely love it. Yes, it's not the cheapest thing around. I am going to write probably a very in-depth post because I've got about 4 million screenshots of how I set up my I say how I set up my website. It was mainly John and Ben. I'll just put that right out there at the forefront. Yes, I bought the theme. Yes, I set up. No, I can't even say I set up Ghost because that was you as well. I bought the theme and I've written stuff, but literally 90% of the aesthetics and working out like what needs to go. That's John and Ben.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to put that out there. If it wasn't for them, it would still be buffering. It would still be like somewhere, and it would still say in Chrome, have you spelt that right? Which is the standard that it gave me for about 3 days.
It's a good day. It was a lovely time, wasn't it?
So going forward in March, there shouldn't be anything from February that I haven't done. So I wouldn't
actually. I'd like to challenge that because that's kind of nice to have. Like, I think being able to see the past month is quite valuable in terms of like, so when you're writing blog posts, so for like purposes of keeping people on your website, increasing your reducing your bounce speed, things like that, being able to link to other pieces of content, other blog posts you have written is actually really good to build your website up. So by having like last month's calendar there, you will be it will make it even easier for you.
But the purpose of having that calendar there is for the stuff I haven't done. So I would go to my published calendar, which is why I have a dashboard for published, so that I can just go to it. If I need to share things, I can just go to it because that only has published. Whereas January calendar within the February theme is reminding me of stuff I haven't done. So yeah, but this now needs to be filtered. So let's add a quick filter. Add filter. Where published.
They are just a bit of music there.
So anything that I've published now won't show up. It will only show me the stuff that I haven't done yet. Which I think is really valuable as well, because if I'm like, okay, so I've got like 3 days off work, and I'm like, right, what didn't I do last month? What can I write content on now? What's lighting a fire under my ass and I want to rant about it for 3 days? And then I can put that in. So that, to me, keeps me accountable to what I said I was going to do.
I love it. Honestly, I would implore you to keep it on. I would have that on and just move to February when it comes, like, because you're going to have so many ideas eventually that you're going to have too many pieces of content and you're going to have to decide which ones you're going to publish. And so I think that would be, and it's a kind of a bit of a fail safe for you because you know that there's other pieces of content that you can publish. And that can go into your fail safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
So,
and you could, inside of your filler, you could actually filter for was in the last month or whatever, and is not published, and add those in as your filler entries as well.
Yeah.
If you haven't already.
I mean, this is the thing. I kind of want to live in my content theme rather than my mission control and my content focus, because I feel that my mission control is like holistic. So it's like everything that's going on, all the courses that I'm taking, being in like Notion Mastery and things like that. And it's like everything. So every piece of content, everything that I'm thinking about and all the rest of it. But I think that for content scheduling, it has to be done within the theme.
Okay, so I before I forget, I got my book out so I don't keep interrupting you. You were saying a holistic view, like that mission control is a holistic view.
Yeah.
Okay, can we go back to your purpose, please, of that one, and change that, because that's important to have a holistic view on all the moving parts. I would once again say and push back and say, what moving parts? Like, I know you know what they are, but you should define your purpose really clearly of all the moving parts within your content themes. Beautiful, much better. Beautiful. So this is a holistic view. Are you beginning to see some separation between the mission control and the other page that the other dashboard that you're like, oh, it's kind of the same thing. It's not the same thing. I don't know whether it's the same thing. Tell me if it's the same thing.
This has pretty much exactly the same embedded databases with exactly the same views. There is very little that appears in here that doesn't appear in mission control. The only thing that I don't even know if that's in there. Is that in there? My filler. Yeah, it's just in a different. Right. So in this one, we have my filler content on the left and my content calendar on the right in mission control. In my content schedule and focus, it's the other way around. That's literally the difference, is it's the other way around.
Okay, so do you like having both those views?
I prefer this view. So all that I would need to do is change this to look the same as the other one.
Okay.
Because
so once you've done that, do you want to do that live, or are you too terrified to do it live? Let's do it live. Let's just, because I really want you and everyone watching to come away with like, yes, this is the final, this is how I want it to look. This is exactly the way it needs to look for me. And I want you to be able to come away and go, yes, this is it. This is the way I want it to look. Because I'm really intrigued to get you to a point where you're just like, yes, heck yes, this is right now.
Right, and then that needs to be moved over there. And that needs to be moved over there.
So let's have a look and compare the two. So that one's got a few more properties showing as well.
Yeah.
So for people, let's actually view you adding those properties.
Okay, let me zoom in a bit.
Beautiful.
Right, I'm just going to flick into the other one to see what properties I've got.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. And so when it comes to kind of, I'll just talk while you do that. Like when it comes to having different spaces, it's really nice to experiment and play with different like ideas and dashboards and databases and things like that. There's nothing wrong with having duplicates. It's not really a big deal. But when they need to each have a separate kind of reason for existing. Like if the reason is minute and subtle, it doesn't matter. If you could make changes to your new database, your original kind of workspace, do so. But as long as there is a different purpose for each database, a different need, it needs to see, if it needs to see different things, if it needs to have different things, then that's the way it is. So how are you feeling about this space right now? This version?
Yeah, I mean, I've added my tag cloud as well, because just to go back to the website for a second, the template that I bought has something called a tag cloud. So I can tag all of my blogs, my entries, everything like that with different tags. And if you click on one, bless you, if you click on one, it will only give you the things that have been tagged with that tag. Now, when I was in, when I was planning on going through Super and having my website to be a forward-facing version of my Notion space when I built it, that was fine, but I could add a lot more data because I had the property showing at the top. So in here, no, that's a crap one. We won't look at that one. Not that that was crap, because that was a Notion Nerds podcast, but there wasn't enough information in it. So like here, let me make it bigger. So my type is where I would have put it, and how I would have tagged it within the database that was forward facing from my Notion space into Super. So in the type, there are a lot of things that I can tag it with, like a lot. However, because I want to use my tag cloud and have it be very, I mean, I can put more than one thing in a tag cloud. So it could be a review, but it could also be a Notion blog post. So you can have like 2 different tags on Ghost. That's not an issue. I host my website through Ghost, by the way, just in case anybody was wondering. So now, where it would say the Notion blog pillar post, and there are some that have got like 30 different ones, because I went a bit tag happy, as you do when you're creating tags. You go a little bit tag happy.
I like your tags.
I do like my tags. So, and that's not even including the fact that I have a tags and topics database, which I link in as well. But we'll ignore that for a moment. Yeah, we won't worry about that. So I've started using the tag cloud now, so that when I'm writing a post, I know exactly where it's going on the website, and I know exactly what I've got to tag it with on the website, which I think is going to be quite useful. I still can't get on with a timeline view. I've left it in there purely for the purposes of this live stream. I can't get on with it. I can't do it. I don't like it.
No, especially when you have titles that are actually long.
It makes no sense to me. I've got a table view, which is ridiculous. So, because the table view is exactly the same as the table view above. And the reason it's exactly the same is because I duplicated the database so that I can turn it into a timeline. Oh, hey, Danny. So yeah, I'm liking this section, because this section shows me what I'm working on in the next like week. And anything that I haven't marked as done already that is before today. This is like my online learning. So any courses that I'm taking and things like that, I've put at the top, so that I basically remember that I'm doing them. I can create a new note or idea. Obviously, A&E, for those of you who aren't aware, is anything and everything.
I love that name.
Some people call it a library. Some people call it a knowledge vault, which is going by August Bradley's PPV. And that's what mine was originally called. Then I changed it to library because that's what Marie Pooling calls hers. And now I'm just like A&E, just anything and everything, you know, that's where it's going.
Mine was called a brain dump before I renamed it to anything and everything, because I like the way that you've naming it. Naming is so important when it comes to creating your own system, like when it comes to creating your own like space, because the naming, if it doesn't align with you, then it's never going to work. It's never ever going to work.
I don't have goals. I don't have projects. I don't have value goals. I don't have goal outcomes, which are obviously from August Bradley's PPV. I don't do para either. I don't have any projects because they don't make sense in my head. I know a lot of people and a lot of like really like massive influencers and stuff they have like what they would call what they would call things. And the temptation is like, well, if theirs is called that, then that's what mine should be called. But if it doesn't work for you, then you're not going to use it. And my A&E is literally anything and everything. Literally anything and everything. Anything I clip, any notes I make, any courses I'm taking, which allows me to use the filtered views to really like connect things. And I also have a resurface date, which means if I clip something and I'm like, I don't have time to watch that right now, or I don't have time to read that right now, I'll put a resurface date on it. And that's something that Marie has done with hers in her library. She has things that she might, because obviously she has like set days that she does certain things. So she'll have things to resurface on the date that she knows she's doing that specific thing. Whereas I might put it on like my next day off. But having literally, I wouldn't say it's a dump because I'm quite specific about what I put in there. And on Save to Notion, I don't know if people are going to be able to see this. All of my everything that I put in there, all of my properties show up in Save to Notion. So even when I'm saving something, I can be mega specific on why and where and how. So my life area is literally the Notion Goth or personal. Those are the only two. There are varying categories depending on what it is, which comes from Marie's. So in progress, next, create content, review, read, complete, initial highlights. Then I've added review for blog and review for newsletter. And then idle, check this out, I'm going reference, incoming post, because I scan all of our posts that comes in, and that goes into anything and everything as well. And inspiration. So something that I've seen that I'm like, ooh, I like that. That will go in there.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Yeah, it's linked to my daily journal. Because everything is linked to my daily journal. Then we have my areas. If it links to a topic or tag, so if it's productivity, if it's Notion formulas, anything like that, I'll link it through to my topics and tags. This is a related within the same database. So if, for example, I absolutely loved James Clear's Atomic Habits. And then went and did a load of reading around interviews that he's done, different ways to implement atomic habits. I follow Benjamin Hardy, who says a lot of stuff about atomic habits and things like that. So that allows me to have a parent-child relationship. So if I'm saving something and I know that there's something in there already that it relates to, I can just link it while I'm saving it. And then if it's for a specific event like today, I'll put it in, I'll attach it to the meeting. My CRM is not my family CRM. This is my work CRM. If it relates to a specific piece of content, and then notes and summary, and then I've got the date that I started it or the date that I read it, but I've also got the date that it was broadcast. So sometimes I might come up with something and think, oh my God, that's amazing, but it was published in September.
Yeah.
So you have to look at it as to whether it's still relevant and whether it's still current. So
I have to bring this. Actually, I don't think you can see this. Gail's just put A&E is such a great name.
Yeah.
A&E is such a great name. Triggering Danny is just a beautiful extra. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a bonus. It's a bonus.
So yeah, so everything goes in there.
I must admit, I didn't know. I didn't even know that Save to Notion could do that. So I'm going to be diving into that afterwards. I was just like, oh, I like this. Oh yeah, okay.
But
I didn't know you could do that.
It's the only form that I have. I used to have ones for like going into my daily, going into my music and video library. I don't have any of that shit now. Literally, the only one I have is A&E because everything goes in there. But when you set it up,
I like that.
You can literally set the ones. If I add a new field, I can have. Where are we? I can have my resurface date. So that I can say like when I want it to come back in again. And then when I go to it, my resurface date is now in there.
It's beautiful. It's really nice. I just love how you've laid it out. Like your A&E is a beautiful space. I love it.
So I know that a lot of people don't use Save to Notion and a lot of people just use the Notion Clipper. But because I have A&E and because whether it's a note, a video, an article, a YouTube channel I need to check out, anything that I find online goes into A&E, and it's not just work stuff either. So if I find a nice pair of trousers, that goes into A&E.
I love that. I love that specific. It's like, if I find a nice pair of trousers.
Because I found some beautiful trousers for Luke the other day and I put them into A&E.
I love that. It's just so specific.
But then in your contextual dashboards, you can put, right, what have I added to A&E for Luke that comes under clothes that I haven't bought yet?
Yeah.
And you can go mental with contextual dashboards.
I like mental with contextual dashboards.
Yeah. Yeah. My
and also it has lots and lots of properties, which and also it has lots and lots of properties, so it really winds up Danny, so we're all happy.
That wasn't the intention. Obviously, my space is my space and wasn't meant to wind up Danny.
But because it did, it's a bonus.
So, but yeah, so this is. So can I do that? Will that change on your end? Does that change on your end? Let me have a quick look at that one. Is it changing?
A little bit brighter.
A little bit brighter.
Not much though.
Right, let's go to full. There we go. So and then obviously I've got the Ben's Global Notion calendar as well. Mm-hmm. And then I have a global note because global notes are amazing.
Oh, I love the global note thing. Like, if only we could template that, but you can't template something like that.
No.
Like that was like, I looked at your global note, I was just like, damn, that needs to go in my space. Because like I have always got these little, and I know that Danny on his, he's just got a bit on the side of his homepage. And it was like, you know, little bits of information. But I love the global note because I have a lot of contextual dashboards as well. And my contextual dashboard's about to get bigger. Yeah. Because I'm just like this, and this. And so, yeah, I really do love the global note. Yeah. Which is just basically, for people who don't know, it's a global block which you've created with a toggle tag. And then inside of that, you can update it in any place and it will appear everywhere else. Yeah. It's just beautiful. It's also really good as well because in it, I've got my combined focus, my TNG focus and Esme's focus. So no matter where I am, I don't need to go back to the hub and then go to the right one or anything like that. All I need to do
is go to that one. And it will take me straight back into it. And then, oh, look, global note, TNG focus.
It's kind of a almost like a whole nother level of like the Danny top bar thing.
Yeah. But it's
like taking that, but to a whole,
the things that I need.
Yeah.
Right. Where was I? MC. So yeah, gotta love a global note. Got to love a global note. So yeah, this one I just can't get on with timeline view. I just don't. Right. So you know what we're gonna do? Fuck it off. I mean, get rid of
it. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Timeline view.
Or not. I don't really care.
Die a burning death of hell.
Absolutely.
Oh no. Just to clarify, 15 minutes. Yeah, no, this was never going to be a 15. I was going live in 15 minutes. This was never going to be a 15-minute stream.
No, we know that I start work at 2:00, and today I'm working from home. Take from that information what you will. Make any inferences that you would like.
We gonna go live until we decide to come off.
Pretty much. So yeah, so I'm liking this.
It's supposed to be only 15 minutes. Only if it was just about Notion needing a weekly calendar. Oh hell yes!
Fucking weekly calendar. Notion, I love you. Get your shit in one sock. Weekly calendar view. It's not a lot to ask. I love you. Don't even get me started on a weekly calendar view. Seriously.
Honestly, even with like a weekly calendar view rant, it wouldn't be 15 minutes.
No. Definitely not.
Even really poor quality apps, as Danny's said, like he's been in really rubbish apps and bad apps, but even they have a weekly calendar view.
Notion Enhancer, which doesn't like Macs, Notion Enhancer has a weekly calendar view.
Yeah, but you have to create a specific database called Weekly, and that personally puts
No. You have to create a view called Weekly.
Oh.
Have to have a view called Weekly.
Okay, I might be getting a bit more excited now.
But I can't use it because I've only got Mac.
And also I work between both. I mean, it kept crashing for me.
Yeah, I can't. I
could not, like, bugging out.
Could not get it to work. Not whatever.
No. It sometimes worked, and then the rest of the time it just took even long. It made Notion's loading times even longer.
If that's possible. But yeah, no,
it is.
I don't use anything extra, I suppose, apart from Save to Notion.
Yeah, I'm the same. I do like Indify though. I like that. I like Indify.
I have Indify in there, but for family calendar, so that's on the family contextual dashboard. I'll have that in there. So like family doctor's appointments and things like that, not as a replacement, but so that I don't forget.
Would you mind sharing how to create the global note? Because Benjamin is asking a question on how that's created.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We'll show you how it's done.
Page. Get a global note page, people, because otherwise you forget where they are. So
basically, a global note is basically a global block, and so it's a block which you can link in multiple different places, and it's like in Rome where you have that ability to copy a specific block and link to a specific block, and it's the same way of viewing it, except it's very hyper specific. It's as close as Notion's going to get to what's called transclusion, which is a really posh word, but this is how it works.
So what I've done is on my hub, I have a page called Global Blocks because I have quite a few of them. So like my guiding principles, which is from August Bradley, my newsletter ideas, I like to have that in different places as well so that I can add stuff. So this is my global block for my global note, which is everywhere. So what I would do is I would create a toggle, and I would call this global note for stream. And,
do you want to zoom in a bit as well so we can see?
Oh, sorry. There we go.
Thank you.
So I've literally just called it global note for stream. What I'm going to do so that it looks a bit different is I'm going to give it a background color, and then I'm just going to enter in a few times. Within this, you can then obviously add your commands. So if you want a to-do list in there, you can put that in there straight away. And if you want to put a link in there, type in whatever you want it to say, then highlight it and go to link. And then you don't necessarily need to have the link if it's Notion. You can type in and that will take you directly.
And another thing you can do is just use @ and then the name of the space, and it will find it for you too. You can actually do it that way, and then you get the visual view as well. If you like that, you can use @ and then type the name of the page, and it's really, really nice.
However, what you can also do is go to a page that you want to link in there. Go to the URL.
Do it that way too.
Copy the URL. Go back and type in link to. Highlight it and just paste.
Yeah, and that's another way of having.
And then it will show you where it is.
Yeah.
What you would do then is go into a code block, copy the link to the block that you want and paste it in there. What you then do, making sure I've got this right. Yep.
Everything before the hash. Yeah.
Is you would get rid of everything after your space name up to the first hashtag.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of it. Then, because you're in a code block, click copy. Go to anywhere else that you would like it to appear. Are we caught up? We all there?
Yeah. And
then paste, and it will ask you, it will say dismiss, create bookmark, or create embed. Oh, bollocks, wrong one. Live building, people, live building.
You remove the hash.
Oh, I did.
You have to remove the. Yeah, you got to remove the hashtag as well.
God, bugger. Right. So copy.
So if you get that error, make sure you've removed the hash as well, which is all planned.
Absolutely.
Just like live bug fixing, seeing how it would work at the same time.
Right.
And so then you'll get a link to page.
Page. And you put that in there. So if I add. And then go back to my global blocks, give it a minute to catch up with itself. And anything that you add in there, no matter where it's placed, will show up everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can do this with not just a single colored block. You can do this with with actual whole entire views if you want to. Yeah. You can have a global block of a view. You can have a global block of a template. That's my favorite one. A global block of a template button. Oh, it's so exciting.
I
love it.
Originally, I had this one, which I put basically everywhere. Because from anywhere where this was, you could get everywhere. Yes. All of the stuff that we use the most was in here. But I don't use that anymore because it's an old one. So yeah, that's how to make a global block. Massive props to Ben for that. Ben showing me how to make a global block. You can do it for all different types of things. Under here, it was open earlier on, which unfortunately showed more than I wanted it to. But when I've got like Tesco or Asda deliveries and stuff like that coming, I will put a picture of the time and the date that it's coming in important stuff, which is my global block. And then it will show up everywhere where that one is, which is on my focus, on my hub and all places like that. So you can put pictures in there as well, by just going and typing image and uploading the image that you've got.
Yep.
So there's a lot you can do. Anything basically that you can do in Notion, you can do in a global block.
Yeah. And then you can embed that in multiple places, edit and change things, update things. And it is an incredibly powerful and underutilized feature because it's not the easiest thing to explain.
No. But yeah, if obviously remembering to take the hash out, but everything from the end of your space name and the slash to and including the hashtag, and then it will make it a global block and you can put it wherever you like.
Yeah, it's beautiful. He just said thank you for the explanation.
Awesome. Let's go
back to kind of, because we've been on like the most beautifulest of tangents of just sharing everything. We need to do like a full space like walkthrough. We barely touched any of it on the Notion Nerds podcast. Like we barely touched it. Absolutely barely touched it on the Notion Nerds podcast.
I will say the reason that John knows we barely touched it is because he's seen the entire space.
Oh yes,
and
it is beautiful.
It's all color coded and everything.
Oh, the color coding is just like. Anyway, so going back to kind of your dashboards and solving the dashboard dilemma, which I am so proud of that title.
Absolutely.
I know it's not SEO friendly, and I just don't care because dashboard dilemma is just beautiful. So switching between the two, like the ones that you're trying to kind of decide whether you're going to have this, whether you're going to have that, what you're going to do, what's what. How are you feeling now looking at both of them side by side?
I'm not 100% convinced that I need this.
Okay.
Because I have it here in calendar view.
Okay.
So I'm wondering whether it would be better is the wrong word. To start the page with this. But then what I would potentially also do.
So let's troubleshoot that and figure out what you want to do. So your purpose, anything you do in your space has to go towards your purpose, which is right now to have a holistic view of all the moving parts within content, themes, learning, and products. So does the top part help you fulfill that purpose, or is it just getting in the way now, do you feel?
I think it's a duplicate. And this is a better way to view it. What I would also be tempted to do is to filter this. And I would be tempted to have, when publish is empty. So that nothing is going to show up here if it's already been published. So I would only then see the bits that I hadn't done. The other thing that I need to do, and I need to find out a way to do this, is so newsletter day is never going to be published ever. Because it's not a thing. If I have a published date on it, so I know I'm doing it on Friday, but I'm not going to publish it on Friday because my newsletter doesn't get published until the last Saturday of the month. If I have a published date, it is going to appear in my published calendar, which I don't want because it's not a piece of content. Well, it is.
Could you not have a filter for that name if it's going to always be called published name or or newsletter. If it add a filter on there that said if name contains newsletter, do not show.
Yeah, I could do, because my other thing that I was wondering about doing is having a separate done checkbox.
Mm-hmm.
So in newsletter day, a lot of these wouldn't count.
Yeah.
Because it's only writing a section of the newsletter that contains that pertains to the last like 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs the right date, but it doesn't necessarily need anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So my other, I mean, I could filter for does not contain my type.
And then have it on the side as a list of all the newsletter dates that are coming up in the next, like, just so that you can see when your newsletter date is. Or do you not need to see that?
John, mute me.
There we go. We had some joyful fun and the dogs were joining in. Put your thumbs up when you're ready, Esme. So someone needs to make a gif of John's face when he's talking of the beauty of Esme's Notion. Yeah, I wait for the Nerdy Nation here to do that because I know she'll definitely do it. She takes loads of pictures and gifs, and she's very good at them. So, yeah, let me know when you're like ready to unmute again. Just put your thumbs up so I can see, and then I'll unmute you, and we can keep beautifully talking about the absolute joys of this space. And so, as I'm just going to riff here because I can. When it comes to figuring out what you want in your space, as we're going through this, think about what. Cool. I'll just put this up. Think about what you need and what the exact purpose of each dashboard. You could have dashboards galore, and it doesn't matter how many dashboards you have. It just matters that it's clear why you're going into it. So one of the things that was getting in the way for Esme was the fact that both dashboards kind of did the same thing. You can nod if I'm getting this right. Is that both dashboards did pretty much the same thing. And you were trying to figure out what works best for the situation, because otherwise you just end up having spaces and dashboards with absolutely no. I love the disgust. I love the disgust that you're giving right now. I love it. You're like, be quiet. I am streaming. I love it. But yeah, being clear on exactly what you want and need, your purpose of a dashboard, and being as specific as you can, because you can have a really like simple dashboard, or you can have a really complicated dashboard, or you can have multiple dashboards that kind of mean the same thing. But if the purpose and the need and what you actually have on there is something that is important to you, then it's fine. But when you get caught on having kind of a 50-50, like unsure of which way. Cool. Awesome. There we go. I think I stalled enough.
Yeah, sorry about that. We farted 4 streets away, and we needed to be notified that we farted 4 streets away. The problem is that when they come back in here and they're all like with Daddy and they're all like calm and all the rest of it, we're good. But while they're still in the kitchen, you're like, don't unmute me because they're going to start again.
Thank you for joining us today on this Notion stream
of
doggies. We enjoyed your company. It was wonderful. We enjoyed your company. Thank you for your input. And they absolutely agree with everything we're saying.
Totally. Absolutely.
That's why. So going back in. So when you're deciding to delete something, so you're thinking of deleting this top, like, what does it show you that the other thing doesn't, that you'll need?
Last month, however, if I grab, because my New Year's resolution, so this is my theme. Oh, I can take that global note out now. That's live, everybody. Because I've got this one in here as well, which is last month. Mm-hmm. I don't know necessarily whether, because I can just go back into January, mm-hmm. And it will show me all the things that I haven't done yet. So having that, it's only filtered for published is empty. So rather than it being, John, mute me for a sec.
Cool. Oh, they've left the room. I like that. They left the room. Cool. And there we go. As you were.
So yeah, so because this is a dynamic one and because it's only filtered, the published date is empty. Mm-hmm. If I've got stuff from January that I haven't done, then that filter will still show me the stuff that I haven't done. Whereas up here, it's all in date order.
And as you do more posts and more things appear and you've got newer stuff that you want to post and trying to figure out how to prioritize, this could become very frustrating as well. Yeah. You'll be like, I
mean, it's only the filter is showing the right date is on or before 1 week from now and the published date is empty. Which is why it's showing the Notion Nerds podcast from the 10th, the 17th and the 24th. Mm-hmm. Because I haven't published anything on those yet. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously the 24th actually runs into another piece of content because I was on that one. So this one now doesn't necessarily need to be there because I have a piece of content which is reflections on my first live stream. But it just reminds me that there are things that I want to write about. Mm-hmm. But I think maybe going forward, having it in a calendar view will be quite useful because there shouldn't be anything if I go back to January. So, and I only plan a month at a time. I can't plan any further than that. I mean, mm-hmm. Obviously we've both got family, things change, shit happens, things just need to be dropped because we are very like family people. So even though my content calendar is like set in stone because it has to be because of when I work, there is nothing in there that I cannot shift.
Yeah.
Because family is everything to me.
Absolutely.
And, you know, my family has to come first. And if they need something, damn right, I'm moving my content.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's something that's not really talked about. I'm going to bring it back to us to talk about that because, like, people don't talk about that. They're always talking about being more productive. Let's look at my dashboards that help me stay organized. But flexibility, if you're living on your own or you live with your family or like your folks, it's different.
Yeah.
But when you run a business, whilst also having a lot more responsibility on your back, it's important that your Notion space or how you run your business in beyond just the Notion reflects that. And it's clear that you can truly like understand where your limits are and what your flexibilities are and what your priorities are. Like another word for kind of like the purpose is the priority of the dashboard. Like, is the priority of that dashboard to be able to see everything, or is the priority of that dashboard to be able to go, right, things have gone wrong, you know, my kids need to go to the doctors, or we've got this meeting, we've got that meeting that's come out of nowhere, I need to just reschedule everything.
Yeah.
or I'm not very well, like, can I reschedule everything? And so your Notion space, it's so important that your Notion space fully supports exactly what you want, and not just follows a system blindly. Often when people, in my experience, when I've worked one-on-one with clients, they're like, well, I need to have this. Okay, why? I must have this. I should have this. Whenever I hear a should, that is my trigger to go, why? Because you shouldn't have anything. You should only know what you should do. That's the only should you need. You should be clear on what you want.
My whole thing is, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something both me and Danny say on the stream a lot.
Yeah. And I think the thing is that I have my grandfather is 92. We have we live very, very close to my granddad and my mother. There's me and Luke and the kids and Luke's dad, and shit happens, and all the planning in the world, all the pretty dashboards, all the links and the link databases and the global notes and all the rest of it, shit goes sideways. Nothing matters apart from the family.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. And I think that's possibly another reason why I don't plan my content too far in advance.
Yeah.
Because if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. I can't do the zoomy bit that John can do. I have to move forward. So my entire system is a redundancy, because I can move things around. And even with work, I was talking to John last night. I'm due to have surgery on the 9th of February. And I thought, wonderful, that's my first day off. I've already taken annual leave the 3 days after that. And then obviously I've got 3 days off, and then I'm not due back at work. But had a phone call, and they're like, right, you need to come in for a COVID test on the 6th. And I'm like, ideal. I booked it for 12:30 because I start work at 2. And they're like, you can't go to work. And I'm like, shit. So I've now had to change. I've had to swap shifts with somebody else. So I'm now working from home on those 3 days. And then 3 days later on in the month, when I should have been working from home, I'm now at work. But things happen, and some things sometimes you can control them, and sometimes you can turn around and say to family, okay, I am streaming at this time. Don't iMessage me with anything rude because I'm sharing my screen, that kind of thing. But then there are other times when you're like, the world just screams plot twist at you and shoves a load of shit in front of you, and you're like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? So that's why, yes, I have my themes of the content that I would like to create, and ideas that happen about a specific piece of content. I will try and either put it under one of those themes, or if I can't, it will go into like my filler list. It's like, I really want to do one about my nail care routine. Because that's natural nails, I think, are just like the bomb. Absolutely love natural nails. And then I collect orchids as well, where I have used timeline. And those are things that I want to create, but they do not fall into any of my themes for this year. But if I come up with something and it won't fit into a theme, it goes into my filler. If it'll fit into a theme, then I don't need to worry about it, because I'll put it under that theme and then I'll get to it when I get there. But I know sort of what I want to create month to month because it fits within my theme. So if I can schedule that and have a couple of days where I don't schedule anything, and then I can either literally binge watch Netflix all day, or I can put something in there because everything's kind of gone okay that month, and those couple of days I don't have to do anything those couple of days, then it's really good to just have that buffer zone somewhere in the month to go, okay, I can either take a couple of days off. I don't want to get burnout. I don't want to spread myself too thin. I can spend some time when all this isn't going on. I can spend some time with mother. I can like spend some time in the garden with the dogs. But it's really important to have that downtime as well. But you need to be able, especially if you've got a family, you need to be able to drop everything.
Absolutely. And that's imperative. Like if you don't have a family, then probably half the stuff on the space doesn't make sense for you particularly. And that's really important to understand, that just because like we know what we're talking about, we don't know you. You are the expert in your life and how, pardon me, on how you want to work and what's important for you. And when it comes to relying on YouTube videos or live streams and all of that joyful stuff, you know, trust your instinct. Like, trust your instinct when you look at it. If something feels wrong to you and you don't get it and you don't like it, good. It's not for you.
No.
If it feels uncomfortable and you're like, oh, I don't really know, then go and explore it. Go and try it out. Like Notion is it gives you the flexibility, unlike other tools where like it's set in stone and that is it. In Trello, you create a board and that's a board. Like that's that. You can't just move things. I don't think you can actually move things between boards.
Yeah, you can. It's a bit of a faff, but you can.
Yeah, so you can move things between boards, but it's a faff. Whereas in Notion, it's as simple as highlighting and just moving it. In Notion, you can very much easily turn something from a database entry to a page to a to-do list.
Yeah.
and it just doesn't matter because you have that full flexibility to do exactly what you want and what you need. So yeah, always remember, no matter what you're watching, like if it doesn't feel right, it's not right. If it feels wrong, it's wrong. It is wrong. And if it feels, uncomfortable, explore it a little bit more. Be willing to explore something that feels uncomfortable, because often you'll be surprised at what you do, especially when you're being forced on a live stream.
And the thing is as well is that you don't know, like when like people who are watching now don't know like yours or my personal situation. So while my dashboard might look busy, or it might look completely different to somebody else's, that doesn't mean it's wrong, because I might look at somebody else's board and go, how the fuck do you get anything done? Because we all build our own spaces. Yes, we can take things from here, there and everywhere, like my A&E. I know a couple of people have renamed, they've kept exactly the same database, but they've renamed it A&E because that's what resonates with them. My content calendar is called my content calendar. There's no way you could confuse it with something else. And it's the same with goals, projects, value goals, goal outcomes, milestones, all the other JM, KLM and P and all of that. If it resonates with you and you're used to using KPIs and OKRs, crack on. Absolutely. If you can make that work, knock yourself out. But there are going to be other people like me where that just doesn't work. It could be the wording, it could be how it's structured, it could be the boxing you in. So like if it doesn't fit within this framework, then it's not worth your time, which personally I think is bollocks, but that's just me. But sometimes it just comes down to what you've called a database or what you've called a board.
Yeah, and also like frameworks are a suggestion. They're not a requirement. I hate the way that the internet has turned into, it's just having frameworks and this and that and do a step-by-step process to becoming a better Notion person or a better Notion consultant or a better Notion this or a better Notion that, or using the ultimate Notion setup. Like, that's all buzzwords and complete and utter BS coming from someone who has written pretty much the same thing in the past, because it's perfect and it's the ultimate Notion dashboard for me and for the person who creates it. And you should take any Notion template that you purchase or any course that you take with a pinch of salt, like, because at the end of the day, this is one person's experience and knowledge turned into, the answer for them that works for them, and you really need to take a step back. And nobody likes talking about this part. Like, whenever any creator actually goes, and starts talking about this, it's just like, everybody disappears, because it's not fun, it's not interesting. Yeah, the public marketing blurs the real productivity. What we're talking about right now is more important than what your flicking dashboard looks like. Like, your dashboard's a dashboard. It's just a visual representation of what you want to see. But knowing why you want to see that information and being really clear, confusion comes from lack of understanding of your own space. Like, that's the only reason why Notion confuses people. It's because you struggle to understand what you actually need and want.
Yeah. And
so when you're looking at something and you're going, this doesn't feel right, then start asking why. Sorry, Karen.
And that's where I am with this, because I'm like, I've got two dashboards that do virtually the same thing. Which one am I supposed to be using? Because I created both of them. So I need to take ownership of that, in the fact that, I've created both, but they don't do anything differently. There may be the odd database that isn't in one that's in the other. And that's literally just a copy and paste job to get it where
we literally did that. Yeah.
But, and I think as well is that people don't, I mean, you and Danny and Marie and August and all people like that have been doing this a lot longer than I have. And trying to work out the best way for me to organize my content is a very personal thing. I mean, Frances, the Notion bar, check her out. She's amazing. I love her to pieces.
She's amazing.
She's organized her content for the whole of the year. And I'm like, how have you done that? I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, But when I went back and watched the office hours with Marie, where she interviewed Tara, and she said that she has monthly themes, that just clicked. And I'm like, holy shit, I now know exactly what I'm doing. So the answer to a question that you may or may not know you had can come from a very unexpected quarter. And it might just be the thing that makes you go, oh, wow, actually, I do know what I'm doing. I had probably about 30 pieces of content, and I'm like, what do I do first? What do I do next? How do I organize it? How do I put it in a coherent way that I'm not sat there in the morning on my day off going, I ain't got a clue what I'm writing today. And then I procrastinate for the entire day. And then it comes to tea time and I end up feeling really bad because I've done nothing that day. So having that one thing that I didn't even realize was missing, which is having monthly themes. As soon as I did that, I'm like, holy shit, actually, all of these random pieces of content that I wanted to write actually fit in a structure. And that for me was a complete game changer, because now I know that to a point, most of my content that I will release in a given month has a purpose and has a larger theme. There may be a few pieces here and there that I write because I want to write them. And for anyone who is thinking about like subscribing to my website and things like that, I write long stuff, right? You will not find a quick snippet on my website. Well, you might, but it's like few and far between. Most of them are going to be like huge essays, dissertations, that kind of thing. Very few things will be short. But having a couple of pieces sort of like waiting in the wings of things that I want to talk about, but they don't strictly fit into the thing that I'm doing. 90% of my stuff does. And having that theme was just like, wow, okay, that works. So sometimes it's just taking it the notch above and going, right, okay, where does all this stuff fit? But as a brand new, thanks, John, as a brand new website and a brand new blogger, it's really difficult, and people don't talk about it because it's a case of use this template. I'm going to charge you 145 quid for this, and it's going to answer all your questions. They don't. They can give you ideas. But although having said that, one of the templates that I still use the most is the blogging template by Molly Jones, who is Notionology.
Yes.
Her blogging template, oh my God, game changing. But that's probably the only one. And I think templates are great if you're not 100% sure. And templates can give you like ideas about what it might be good to have in your space. But don't think as well, just because you bought an entire template, that you have to use all of it.
No.
Because you don't. Pick out the bits
Nope.
that you like and ignore the bits you don't. Sorry, I was just seeing if the camera was on.
Ooh, please.
Dogs, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah,
so
let's wondering if it would be better to have my actual calendar at the top of the page rather than the list.
Let's have a look at that. Let's see what it looks like. So the best way to understand whether something's going to work for you is to just do it. And in Notion, it gives you that capacity to do so easily. It is so nice to see it that way. Instant thoughts. Tell us what you're thinking.
With the amount of properties I've got showing, it's a bit big.
And so what will that cause for you? So I'm asking, I want you to explain why you don't like the fact that it's too big.
If we had a weekly view on a calendar, it wouldn't be so bad. I mean, I could filter for right date is within the next week, but I would then turn that into a group, and then today. So I could have it like that, which would just show me what's coming up this week, which would take down how big it is. And then obviously as I write things and add the publish date, they would disappear.
And that's also for people watching, that actually is it keeps moving forward. So every single day it will show a week from there or today. And so that's a nice moving way of seeing everything. So that's
if you have
I often do that a lot.
If you have a filter for, obviously mine is right date is within the next week, that's a dynamic date. If you wanted it to be specific, you could have is on or before, and then click exact date, and then you can put the exact date of Sunday. But that is not dynamic. So every time you wanted to add a day, you would have to go into the
do it manually. You've got it on is on or before, so change it to within.
There we go.
There you go. Oh,
not within the past week. So yeah, so that would. Oh, excuse me. So that would cut that down so that I would only see what's happening in the next week.
It's all right, Notion. We're rooting for you, Notion. There we go.
I don't know what you're saying, Danny. I'm sure. I would never mention a weekly calendar view. I would never, those words would never cross my lips. I don't know what you're saying.
You're never talking about Notion's weekly view.
No,
You don't like a Notion view. Who needs weekly views, huh?
Well, exactly.
Huh? Who needs them? Exactly. It's not like, we work week by week. It's not exactly like, the entire calendar is viewed on a week by week basis or at all. Who needs that? Give us a damn weekly view.
Yeah, I think if I could have a weekly view, that would definitely go across here. Without a doubt.
I mean, even that looks quite nice. Even that looks okay.
Yeah.
We're just going to pretend that the rest of the weeks don't exist right now. And then moan repeatedly. And just get triggered and repeatedly say, I need weekly view. I need weekly view. I need a weekly view. I need a weekly view. Give me a weekly view. Give me a weekly view now. Sorry.
Don't get me wrong. I'm really excited for the API, but I want a weekly view. So what I've
give
done,
us both.
Give
us both.
Yeah, I've
at the same time
created it and moved it down again so that I've got the whole month. Because what it might be quite nice to have is this is immediate. So this is now.
Yes.
And then this is future.
Yes, absolutely. Love it. Love it. Google Calendar link is all I need. Yep. That would be so nice to have a Google Calendar link. I mean, I have more uses for the API, but that's a whole nother discussion. I cannot wait for the API to come out. Booking meetings, my meetings database automatically updates with a note with their name, with the details of the meeting. I cannot wait till it's official. I mean, I'm doing it unofficially anyway, but when it's official, it'll actually work properly. Wow. Well, we hope it will work properly.
Yeah. So I'm going to move this. I'm not going to delete it, but I'm going to move it and put it right at the bottom so that if I want to get it back, I don't need to recreate it. I can just move it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing as well, is that when you're trying to design your dashboard, don't think that you've got to delete everything. You don't. Just move it to the bottom, because if you're like, shit, I didn't mean to delete that bit, that's fine. It's still at the bottom. You can just drag and drop it to wherever you want it to be.
Yeah. And also, the whole process of designing your dashboard is a process. It starts in one position, and then as you get more familiar with what you need, you'll start adding more. I am relatively sure you didn't have this straight away.
Oh God, no.
And you slowly built up this space. So looking at this, don't feel it's very easy to look at these beautifully advanced spaces and go, I will never be able to build that. There's way too many things on there. I just don't know what I'm doing, and don't know this and don't know that. I'm never going to be able to do this. And my reply to you is, you don't need to. Start small and build it up. You could very easily just have the bit at the top there and be happy.
Yeah.
Just as a starting point. And then you can start building out other sections as and when you need them.
And I mean,
when they feel right to you.
When you start Notion as well, unless you use one of their wonderful templates, you start with a blank space. So all of this has come in the last month and has been refined because on my hub, so I don't delete my databases, my old ones, but what I do is I put them in a holding area because I don't know if I want to delete them or not. So down here, I have my objectives, the Notion Goth calendar, my next actions, my goal outcomes, my value goals, my goals, my weeks, my habits, and my skills. And they have all now got this icon on them. So I know if that icon appears anywhere, it's an old database, because these three I used in conjunction with each other, and that was my entire content creation. So I had my objectives, which was like release X amount of this and write X amount of that and do X amount of something else. And then my Notion Goth calendar was set up to be the next stage down from that. And then the next actions were the bits that I needed to do. Now, that's far too many steps for me. Because I'm not creating videos and because I am not editing videos or editing podcasts or anything like that, I don't need the kind of steps that maybe John or Danny would have, or Bradley or Marie, somebody who is on YouTube. I don't need those kind of steps because that's not the kind of content that I'm creating. So having record, script, and all things like that, I don't need all of that. All I need to see is what I'm doing that day. So even if you have a load of things that you're like, oh, I should have this, and oh, I can link that to that, and oh, that does that, and all the rest of it, you don't have to stick with it. I now have two. I have more than that. Because now what I have is this. So I have my mission control, then I have my content schedule and focus, which is the other one that we're probably going to get rid of. And so obviously all these are my dashboards. And then
oh no, what's that? What's that there? What's the let's what's that third one down? Oh
look.
What's that all about?
And then I should have sanitized that one.
And then, you shouldn't, it's more fun. Let's tease them.
And then so these are my databases. And obviously calendars have the calendar icon and normal databases have these. So I now have my content offers. So anything that I'm going to put on Gumroad, which I can link to my content calendar and I can link to my content themes. And then my content theme.
Love it.
I love it. Everything is underneath the theme.
Another notion here. I saw that morning. Finally dragged my butt out of bed. Welcome. Yes, we've been streaming for like 2 hours. Welcome. So good to see you. So yeah, for me, this is my next actions, my content calendar, everything, because I don't need the extra bloody 5 steps to get me to do the thing. Yeah.
In here, so if I open this up, I can't show you too much because it's got Notionologies, it's got Molly's template in it, and that's a chargeable template, and I don't want to give too much of it away. And then I literally have a page within it, which is where I write what I'm doing. And that's it. There's no linked databases. There's no, and this is what it looks like. There's no linked databases. There's no nothing. It is literally just somewhere I can type and get it all out of my head.
We have a question in the chat that I know is going to be a beautiful question. Where did you get your icons? Has that Google Drive finally finally been moved?
Leave my Google Drive alone.
All right.
I don't think it's that one. No, it's not that one.
It's Notion Minimal. It's Notion Minimal icons, that one. I think.
That one.
Which you've then recolored. It's beautiful.
Ah, right. Okay, so these are the icons that I use. Yes, I have recolored them. but I recolored them for free. I am going to write a blog post about how to do that, because it's a bit fiddly. It's not hard, it's just fiddly.
Yeah.
And in fact, I've made a public thing already on how to change them. So these are the colors that you get by default.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to change any of them, use the black version. Don't try and change anything that's already colored. Use the black version. But then what I would do is I would go I would go to 500 hex and go to this one, which gives you 500 different hex ones. I would then go to this one.
Online PNG tools.
I would then, this is going to be a bit bright.
Yay.
I would then go there. Was there anywhere else I needed to open? I'm sure there was.
No.
Right. So what I would do at this point is I would import from a file. Now here comes my fun with my icons.
I'll let you search for that. Let's do that for a minute.
I got it.
Good.
I got it. So I would put that in there. I would then, if you want them to match,
oh, that database is beautiful. That's Ben.
It is Ben. Yeah.
Ben something. Yeah. Absolutely. I love it.
Oh God. I've got to try and remember where it is.
It's under Notion Resources, I think. I can't see. Hang on, I need to zoom in so I can see the whole thing. I think it's not examples, I don't think. I think it might be guides. Yeah, there it is. Right. Notion color guide.
So Ben has made a public space where he has put in all the hex codes for being able to match anything to the colors that Notion uses.
It's beautiful. I love it.
So because I don't like using RGB, I don't know what it is. I just don't like it. So I would grab this.
The hex code, yeah.
Highlight that one. Go into instant hex to RGB. Paste that in there. Then you want to grab this. Go back into here. You want to change this section to black. And then you want to paste that in. And that's how I changed all of my colors.
Ta-da! It's beautiful. I was just like, oh my gosh, that's so simple. Well, it's not simple, but it's fiddly, but it's just like, yes. Yeah.
The only thing I will say is please, 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 if you are going to do this, do all of the icons at once. Don't just do the icons that you think you're going to use. Do all of them. So going back to here, do all of them. Do not just do a couple here and there. Also, pro tip, if you are going to do, obviously my TNG ones are all turquoise, which is not a Notion color. If you are going to do a bespoke color, in the file, in the folder name, put the hex code. Because if you then go, say you wanted a star that's filled in, and you go to somewhere like flat icon, icon 8, somewhere like that, you will have the hex code for it to match. And you won't have to try and find the bloody thing again. So on your on your Google Drive, on your hard drive, wherever you save it, put in. So I've got things like TNG. I've got an icon pack that says TNG, and then underneath that it has the hex code, because you're going to need it.
So, yeah, have a plan, because you'll regret it multiple times, every time, all the time, all the days, all the times. You will cry and wish you listened.
And let's not even get into the fact that you should really have an icon database, but we won't get into that.
Yes, exactly. That's very true. That's where a Notion Design Studio could come in for those hex codes, which a Nerdy Notioneer is going to be launching very, very soon. Yes. Isn't that right, a Nerdy Notioneer?
Absolutely. Isn't that right, honey?
Yeah. Working on that icon database.
Absolutely.
Keep your eye out on her Twitter, a Nerdy Notioneer. Keep your eye out for that Twitter.
So
to find it.
But yeah, that's how I changed mine for free.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, if you want to be more advanced, you can use things like Figma, you can use things like Sketch, or there's lots of other ways you can make your own icons. I'm not a designer at all. I don't have a design bone in my body, but some of these are beautifully simple that you could recreate in a way that works for you. And just, yeah, it's wonderful. I love it. I love it.
Literally just being able to import and then download that one. And then if I've downloaded this one, I would go to import from file, and it would take me back to the same place, and then just double click, save as, download, and then import from file.
Saving you a ton of time.
And go through the whole thing.
Ton of time. Absolute ton of time. Otherwise, you're just like doing it one step at a time.
Yeah.
Now, I know that we're kind of coming close to when you're supposed to be working.
Yes.
So I would love to just kind of summarize where we've got to with your space and
it's feeling
ask
better.
And like finalize any questions.
It's feeling better.
Yeah. And for those who are kind of like just joining us, sorry, we basically went through both. There was 2 dashboards that were basically doing pretty much the same thing. We had the capacity to really specify what the purpose or the priority of that space was. So originally it was purpose to have a view of all the moving parts. Then we kind of pulled that a little bit deeper. Whenever we first come up with a purpose, as we were talking through it, I caught her mentioning of the holistic view, which is exactly what this is. This space is a holistic view of all the moving parts, then asking her to specify what moving parts, because of course a moving part could be her daily journals. It could be a lot of different things. Whereas if we're very specific and saying within content, themes, learning, and products, you have a specific purpose, a specific priority of seeing that space. We also did a little bit of moving around of the dashboards and combined one of the other dashboards, which basically felt like a duplicate, and turned the parts of the that felt good into this main kind of main mission control, and having that there. We also ranted about the fact we don't have a weekly view yet.
No, we didn't.
Notion.
Perish. What?
And then alongside other wonderful little side distractions about that. And so now we're at a place where, do you feel that you could move that second dashboard into your to delete?
Oh God, no, it's not being moved into to delete. Only databases get moved into to delete. Dashboards just get deleted.
Are you ready to delete that dashboard?
Let me have a look, see if there's anything that I haven't got. I have... Right, so that,
because that would be the beautiful end to the stream. It's just like, gone.
No.
Farewell, fare thee well.
Grab that. And where do I want to put it? Because it is still relevant.
Absolutely.
Which will allow me to tie everything together at the top. So I've got my filler and undated content that I can like pop in, but that's there already. Oh, that's interesting. Because the title is wrong. Yeah, we'll ignore that. We'll ignore that. So I need to retitle these because they don't now fit in my theme. But apart from that,
Rest in peace, content schedule and focus. Let's do this as a really dramatic thing before we leave.
Okay, so I've made it. Can everyone see that I've made it like massive so that everyone can see the wonderful deletion that is about to happen?
And we're going to go full screen deletion because it's such a momentous moment. The whole point of the stream was to say farewell to this database. And now we will say farewell.
Gone.
A moment of silence for the database. For the page.
And
okay, that was enough silence.
And then, just in case people didn't know this, if you then go back, you can either restore it or delete it permanently.
Are we doing a deletion? But then, look at this. Look at this. This is how certain. And moment of silence. Farewell. Farewell.
This is a private page. Yeah, because it's gone.
And that is how we do things like this on my channel.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us, whether you came in the last 20 minutes where you saw the beautiful deletion of the database. And how are you feeling with that deletion? Because it's really important. How do you feel?
It's great that it's gone, because previously I'm like, I don't know which dashboard I need to be in. And that was causing friction in the fact that I know now that if I want to see anything to do with the Notion Goth, it's in here. And if it's not in here, I'm not going to set up another dashboard to be able to see it. I'm going to add it in.
Yeah, because you know that the purpose and you have a clear idea of knowing, that is exactly why it's there. It's for me to see my content, my learning, everything in here so that I can see that, review that. And then it will help you to be able to see that in a way that works perfectly for you.
Yeah.
So, and that's a beautiful, fare thee well database. Everybody has mourned the loss of your database.
Absolutely.
And page. And now everyone's going to celebrate with actually starting working. Oh, sorry, Roxana. Sorry to say that.
Yeah, I gotta go.
If you have any questions, yeah, I know it's boring, isn't it?
I
know it sucks. It's just like, real work? No one wants to do real work. We want to sit here and talk about Notion all day, obviously. If you have a question or conundrum and you would really like to come on stream just to riff it out, figure it out with me, and maybe Esme, let me know. Just send me a message, and I would be very happy to have you on live here to chat about your, database dilemma or anything to do with your Notion space or productivity or systems in general that you want some support helping with. And I would be happy to do a live with you. We do it flexible on the times that work for you. I'm really excited to continue this new, way of working and being able to live figure out all of the systems and all of the ways that work for you. So thank you very much for joining us on this live. It has been amazing. I had a wonderful time. I hope you had a wonderful time. We have now got to the end of today's stream. So thank you very much, guys. And I will see you in the next one.
Take care.
Bye.